MIAA Monday back again on a Tuesday this week. This one's all on me. I was busy yesterday, and the MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy, thank you for taking time on a Tuesday to fill in and do this on a different time, different day. So I appreciate you dealing with my weird schedule habits that I have where I just don't know what's going on half the time.
That's not a problem, Chris. I think both of us, every day is a flexible day regarding our schedules with things that pop up and we need to take care of. So happy to make time and good to see you again.
I was going to say, I need to get a planner of some sort. I try to, and then I go like 2 days and then I just forget to write it in again. And I was like, no, I can remember everything. And I can't remember everything. So that's part of what I deal with every day. So
that's all right. That's all right. Here we are.
It's good to talk to you again this week. Already a busy week in the MIAA. On all fronts, basketball is having some, makeup games already this week, but also football front. Central Missouri getting their next head football coach, no stranger to the MIAA or Central Missouri for that matter, Josh Lamberson. He was already going to be in the league this year with Central Oklahoma on Adam Dorrell's staff, but now he's back at Central Missouri where he was an offensive coordinator. What does that say about the league that he'd already been in the league already coming into this year, but now you have another former player, former coordinator, and head coach back as another head coach in the league?
Yeah, and certainly an offensive-minded coach. And, we've seen the last several years, UCM just put up incredible offensive statistics. And I certainly believe that, Josh is going to carry on that tradition. Someone that had a lot of success at UCM when he was there as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and a number of All-Americans, and fits the prototype, I think, of kind of the young coaches that we're seeing getting hired in college and even pro football. Individuals that come from an offensive background that have that level of expertise and know how to score and spread out the field and play fast-paced football. And so it's exciting for the conference, that we've got talented coaches across the country, but certainly when there's an opening in the MIAA, that they show interest. And I know UCM is very happy that they were able to get Josh back on campus. I think his press conference will take place tomorrow morning. I think on Wednesday morning on campus, and I hope to get over for that and be a part of that. But yeah, just a great day, great announcement for MIAA football.
I was talking to people not about Central Missouri, but just as the MIAA as a whole. When coaching openings come open in this league, regardless of where a program is, whether it's rebuilding, where it's at the top, there's always a lot of candidates that want an MIAA job. Just what does it say about what the conference has created, with regardless of where a program may be in its success, that these jobs are always, in high demand, and a lot of people want these opportunities too.
Yeah, and you said it. It's not just in football. We just saw that play out at Missouri Western with the search for their new volleyball coach. And, someone that had lots of success as a head coach in a different Division II conference, but an MIAA opening occurs, and a chance for them to get a chance to coach and compete against some of the best programs and schools in the country. So I think that's what coaches want, and I think that's what student athletes want. Chris, the chance to compete against the best. And you have that in the MIAA. Every night is a challenge. You're playing in some of the best facilities. You're playing in front of some of the best crowds that occur in Division II athletics. And you got to be on the top of your game, whether you're a student athlete or a coach, because you're playing against elite competition. So I think, it's just the tradition and the history of our conference, but more than that, it's the recent success. that we've seen in women's basketball and men's basketball and volleyball and track and field and football and baseball, that when openings occur, our athletic directors have a lot of choices, and sometimes that makes it a very difficult process, where you've got a handful of coaches that can do the job, and you've got to sort through that and find the right person, the best fit, and the one that could make your program the most successful.
From a league perspective on that part, it can be difficult to find, because there's so many good candidates. Is that kind of also part of the challenge too, of there's a lot of good people out here, and we kind of got to keep the league and ourselves at a standard to where we get a lot of multiple qualified good candidates all at the same time too?
Yeah. And I think what you see, with the football hire at UCM, there's somebody that not only is coached in our conference, but, was a student athlete in our conference. Same thing with the Missouri Western volleyball hire, someone that was a decorated student athlete playing volleyball at Washburn. And so you have individuals that move from their playing days to coaching and then have opportunities to come back and coach in this conference. And I think, to borrow kind of what Coach John Wooden used to talk about, he used to talk a lot about the UCLA way. And it, just really was his way of describing a culture that exists around that program. And I think we have the same thing in the MIAA, the MIAA way. And I think whether it's current student athletes or former student athletes, know of that rich tradition and that competition and the spirit of excellence that exists in our league, and they want to be a part of that as coaches. And I think that that speaks volumes to the investments that our universities make in having top-notch intercollegiate athletics programs, the type of facilities that they build, the type of experience that they provide to our student athletes. And I think all of those things really combine to really explain why our conference has had the type of success it has in attracting interest from coaches to come and coach in our league.
Josh Lamberson, the next head coach at Central Missouri. For anybody who doesn't know, the MIAA resume speaks for itself. Former Northwest All-American quarterback, Central Missouri offensive coordinator, Nebraska Kearney head coach, and he was set to be the Central Oklahoma offensive coordinator too down there and quarterback coach. Now he's the head coach, so it all comes full circle for him, almost anyway. And then I guess kind of switching gears, only a couple of weeks left in the basketball season, as surprising as that sounds, is I know this week, Missouri Western Northwest has some 3-game road trips and everything lined up, and some of that's just rescheduling too. But MIAA tournament right around the corner. It's exciting to know it's going back to municipal. I think when we talked about this back in I don't know if it was November, October, somewhere in there, it felt so far away that we were going to be forever until we got to it. Now that it's almost here, what's the excitement level like for you to know that those tournaments are going back to where they've been for so long down there at municipal?
It's another milestone, Chris. And I think we've had a series of those, really going back to last summer, kind of that first opportunity to get everyone together at Football Media Day in July. That was an achievement. In the fall, getting everybody together at Basketball Media Day. Just each opportunity we have to kind of get back to normal, and when we tip off at municipal, it'll be a big monument. It'll be a big milestone because it is where we belong. It's such a great venue for our tournament. We'll have 10 men's teams, 10 women's teams competing over 5 days. I think we start on March 2nd championship, the men's and women's championships on Sunday, March 6th. Tickets are already available on our campuses, and they'll be available at the municipal box office here soon. But Chris, a lot of people know about the history of that building. For those that don't, it's a very historic building for college basketball. I mentioned John Wooden earlier. He won his first NCAA championship with UCLA in that building. Municipal has hosted 9 NCAA Final Fours. They've hosted numerous NAIA national championships. This will be our 19th time of conducting our championship in Kansas City at Municipal. This would have been year 20, but disrupted last spring with COVID taking the tournament to campus. So we're excited to be back, and it's going to be really a race to Municipal. The next 3 weeks of regular season basketball, we've got great conference races going on both the men's side and the women's side. I think it was just yesterday, our number 1 ranked team on the women's side, Fort Hays State, got beat at Northeastern State. We have a number of makeup games, as you mentioned, Chris, to try and get all of our games in as scheduled this year. We had, I think, 8 postponements on the women's side for COVID and 13 on the men's side, and we've got everything rescheduled. So if weather cooperates, we'll get all of these games played again this year, and my hope is that we're on the back end of this Omicron variant. So disruption that we were worried about for the conference tournament a few weeks ago, maybe that's starting to diminish, but it's a big deal, Chris, to be back at Municipal and to have our student athletes and coaches back in that building to compete for championships.
You brought up an interesting stat there. I was going to ask you about this too. 21 combined games having to be rescheduled this year. Seems like a lot when you put them out there, and they are a lot to try to reschedule. Do you feel like you guys were able to handle things that the best you could, I guess, when you have that many games need to be rescheduled? But like you said, if weather cooperates, and we know how the weather can be this time of year where travel is an issue with snowstorms, everything else, but being able to get all those games back on the schedule, how do you feel like you guys and everybody's able to handle that when, I guess, this is the second year around that we've had to deal with it too?
I'm very proud of our conference. It's hard. It's hard to get games rescheduled. Last year, we had 45 games, so we had to reschedule, and we got them all played, but we had a little more room in the schedule to do that. We were only playing conference games. The schedule was a little more spread out. This year we had a normal schedule with non-con and conference games, and a little more compact and a little more difficult to get things scheduled. But it's amazing to work in our conference with the type of leadership that we get to work with on campus, that there's really a spirit of cooperation among our ADs and our coaches to figure out how to put the puzzle together. And the word is pride, and I'm just very proud of the MIAA in the way that we've done this. Not every conference is in this in the same boat we are, Chris. There are a lot of conferences that have continued when a game couldn't be played to call it a forfeit, or they're just not trying to reschedule games. They're just considering it a no contest. And I don't believe in either one of those things. It's not fair to our student athletes. They want to play, and they want to get these games in, regardless of record. And that's been our mission. That was our mission last year. It's our mission again this year, to get every one of these games rescheduled and played before the conference tournament starts.
MIAA basketball season winding down. It's a few more weeks before we get to the tournament. Everybody's talking about regionals already, so it should be fun. A few weeks as we head into postseason play. Indoor track and field seasons going on. Some MIAA schools with wrestling's going on too. We got to talk about the spring sports season, as weird as it sounds that we're in February 8th talking about the spring sports. It's like this every year, but they're able to go to warmer, not as snowy places, or if they're going north for softball goes north, they go indoor. But now you have the spring season, and it's that overlap we see every year, and it's good to see the overlap. We saw it kind of last year a little bit, but we haven't seen a true maybe overlap for 2 years? Yeah, it would have been 2 years at the beginning of 2020 before everything got shut down too.
Yeah, it's it's that time of year that really tests and strains our athletic departments, our administrators, pulling our trainers and our communication directors and our operations people and our facilities people in multiple directions with winter sports, heading down the home stretch and spring sports that have started. And, Chris, some of our schools like Washburn went to Florida to start their baseball season, but some schools are playing on their home fields. Fort Hays State just wrapped up a baseball series with Colorado School of Mines. I saw pictures this weekend from Missouri Southern where they were shoveling snow to get their baseball stadium ready to host Winona State. So a lot of non-conference matchups and some of them in warm weather, but some of them also in the elements and the weather conditions that you would expect in early February. This weekend, a really cool spring event that's done by the University of Central Missouri. As many people know, the UCM baseball has a great friend who happens to be an alum who owns the Houston Astros. And every year to start the baseball season, the Mules host a Division II, really an elite baseball invitational to start the season. That's this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm actually heading down there to catch a couple of days of baseball, and it's really it's a cool experience for Division II baseball players to have a chance to play where the Astros play and to be in a Major League Baseball park. And UCM usually takes a pretty strong group contingency down, and I'm looking forward to watching some baseball, cheering for the Mules when we have non-conference games like this. Always great that the commissioner gets to actually cheer and root for a team, but it's that busy time, Chris, that overlap, a lot going on. And you mentioned wrestling. On Sunday, we had a great NCAA Division II wrestling dual match on the campus at Nebraska Kearney. Right now, Nebraska Kearney is the number 3 ranked team in the country. They hosted conference foe number 1 ranked in the country, Central Oklahoma. And it ended with points being awarded in the heavyweight match for UCO to get a 1-point win in a dual match to really decide the conference championship. So, we're excited with the performance by really all of our programs in track and wrestling and men's and women's basketball that I think set us up for a pretty successful postseason run, hopefully deep into NCAA tournaments and brackets, and then we'll wrap all of that up and then be sprinting towards spring championships in April and May, and close out another academic year before you know it. But definitely a busy time on our campuses for sure, Chris.
Well, now you're trying to speed us through to May, it sounds like.
Yeah. It's too cold out. I'm looking forward to to some sunshine.
Exactly. I can't, I've lived in this area my whole life and I still can't deal with the cold. So either I don't know, I did something wrong or who knows. I don't like it at all. It's just the worst time of the year for me is cold weather. So that's just me though. We'll get you out of here on this note too. It's one of the bigger honors, I think, for MIAA student athletes, coaches, administrators, MIAA Hall of Fame, the nomination process. Just take me through what kind of goes into that and how can that work for people to get someone on there and what goes into that?
Yeah, it's a big deal in our conference, Chris. We haven't had a Hall of Fame all that long. You know, the history of our conference, the conference dates back to 2012. I'm sorry, 1912. 110 years old, and we've only had a Hall of Fame since 2010. 2010 was our first Hall of Fame class. Like most Hall of Fames, we have criteria, Chris. For a student athlete, someone that must have a bachelor's degree, they must they must be in an MIAA institution's Hall of Fame. They've got to be 5 years out from competing. For our coaches, they must be fully retired at the time they get inducted into our Hall of Fame. Our schools nominate individuals. We have a Hall of Fame committee that's made up of former administrators and officials that select the new Hall of Fame class. We're in the process of doing that for the 2022 class that will be recognized during an event we have in June. But these names are on our website, Chris. Anyone who wants to look at the folks that have been elected in our 12 previous classes can go on our MIAA website and look around our Hall of Fame. But there's some pretty big names of people that have spent some time in the MIAA. I think in our first class, Chris, back in 2010, Henry Iba went in. Our first MIAA commissioner, Ken Jones, Fog Allen. Most people recognize Fog Allen from his days at KU, but he got his start coaching football and basketball at UCM. Millie Barnes was part of that Hall of Fame class, just recognized recently by the Kansas City Sports Commission at their WIN Women in Sports Foundation program this past week. So a lot of names that people will recognize that have spent some time in the MIAA conference that's part of our Hall of Fame. And that June event that we have at the Music Hall here in downtown Kansas City, it's a special night. We have a lot of former Hall of Famers that come and are part of that ceremony. Blair Kirchhoff from the Kansas City Star serves as our MC, and it's the night we really celebrate the MIAA and the people that have helped make the MIAA a great conference. And I thought some of the folks on that listen and watch this podcast would be interested in our Hall of Fame, Chris, and it's something we certainly take a lot of pride in.
I'll get you out of here on this question. You talk about the Hall of Fame only being around for so long. Why is it important for the MIAA to have a Hall of Fame and be able to honor? You already mentioned like Henry Iba, Fog Allen. I mean, the list goes on. Why is it important to have those not just be remembered, but also have a Hall of Fame where they can be honored and keep those stories alive about what each and every man and woman's been able to contribute to the conference?
Yeah, I think it's important not just for the history and the recognition, but also what it says about our organization, our association. When you think about the MIAA, I think we're the 5th or 6th oldest athletic association in college sports. We trail the Ivy League, the Big Ten, the Missouri Valley Conference. There are a couple of others, but we're right there as far as an organization or an association that has such a long history. And I think it's important when our coaches and administrators talk to prospective student athletes about being in the MIAA, that they're able to talk about that history. I think there are plenty of young people that still are interested in the history of college sports, and to recognize that an individual like Fog Allen spent time at Central Missouri as a very successful football and basketball coach, and for our conference to spend time recognizing that and celebrating that, it's important. So the history piece, and then it also, Chris, I mentioned the event that we have in June. It's important for a conference, a membership organization, to find reasons to get together and to celebrate. We get together a lot to talk about rules and policies and things that work and things that don't work and things we want to change, and to build schedules, and the operations part of the conference. We don't take enough time to celebrate who we are, and the Hall of Fame really gives us that chance at least once a year to get together and to really celebrate the conference, to celebrate the association, to celebrate these people that have made such a great impact on the MIAA and its legacy. And so that's an important component as well.
Absolutely. MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy, thank you as always for coming on. MIAA Monday, even though it's Tuesday. And again, that's still on me. So thank you for going on.
You bet. Good to see you, Chris. Thank you.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you.